Hey, welcome. This is Jen Swift of Walk Out to Studio, and I've got some friends with me today.
Yay. Hi,
Yay.
everyone. I'm Amy from amyromeo.com, and we're so excited to have our special guest, Chelly Ontis. Everyone say hi to Chelly.
Hello, everyone. I had to go open my door because as soon as I go live, my cat knows he wants to come and join us. So he was pounding on the door. But
Aw.
I'm excited to talk about craft stuff with you guys today.
So it's kind of
We're,
funny because I saw your cat going back behind you, and we have cats that make special appearances here all the time. So that was
yeah,
really funny. Let's
yeah.
Yeah, he
see.
just went to the sunroom, so it's probably his morning nap time.
So I am looking here. I actually don't have comments, you guys. I don't know what's wrong with my thing here today. Oh, there it
Oh, I
is.
have comments.
I got comments. All right, so looks awesome. We've got a bunch of people here. This is super cool.
Yay.
So Shelly is a friend of ours, and we love bringing our friends on to talk to you guys. And we thought today we could just kind of have a little bit of a chat. But first of all, let's kind of like get started. And Shelly, are you drinking coffee?
I am in my Mother's Day cup last year for my daughter.
Oh, so
Oh,
cute.
like
I love
every
that.
mom here now is just going, oh.
I
Oh,
love that. Everyone's saying hi to Chelly in the comments. I don't know if you can
oh,
see that, Jen,
hello.
but
I I can't. I was gonna bring them up, but then I'll start reading and
Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
know that
out of
happens
the
to me all the
window.
time.
lots of
So
hellos.
I
yeah,
found it.
we're
Don't
excited to
worry,
have
I'll keep
everybody
an
here.
eye. I'll keep an eye on the chat while Jen
Okay.
drives the bus. That's how
Okay.
we
Okay,
operate. Yeah.
sweet.
Yes, it actually works out pretty well because I
Yeah.
get distracted if I'm looking at the chat, so I just kind of keep a little eye out. But yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like a lot of our friends are here,
Yeah.
people I recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Sonia, Christine, Wendy, Jennifer, Maxine, Melinda. Okay, Kathy, Barbara. Okay, Cher. Okay, so you guys are here. You're showing up, and that means to me that you're interested. You're either like diehard fans and you're gonna like listen to us and like whenever, like about whatever, or you're interested in learning more about creating an online business or any kind of craft business. Is it just online that we're talking about at the Creativepreneur Summit?
No, there is in person. So whether it's you own a boutique, you're doing wholesale, so you're taking your products to a boutique, or you're doing craft fairs or craft shows. So
Oh, I
we've
love that.
really covered it all.
So, just to give you guys a little background on Shelly, it's Chelly Ontis. She's in Bismarck, North Dakota, which is actually where my boys are like this morning. So, they're
Are
on their way
they?
home
Oh,
today.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So, they're there, but you're here, which is cool. Shelly has We Can Make That. And that is, I like your little sign in the background.
It's my
And
crown.
it is a little crown, isn't it? And she is here to tell you talked about the Creativepreneur Summit, which I actually talked to you guys about a little bit like a week or so ago. And like you guys blew up the chat. You were so excited about this. So I think that I know, like as far as I know, not a lot of you have an online business, but you're interested in maybe thinking about that in the future. Or you're starting to think about, okay, so I have time. I mean, a side hustle would be cool. I'd like to make some extra money to fund tell us some of the reasons, Shelly, that people are looking at kind of maybe starting an online business with their crafts.
Everybody loves a side hustle. That kind of feels like the buzzword right now.
It is.
I think the pandemic kind of brought that on too, but things cost money. And not only that, but I think like myself, I kind of fell into business. I was a graphic designer and helping with marketing, and I had moved to a furniture store into their marketing department. I don't know if I've told this story on your channel before, but we'll dive in again. And then, so I left a print shop. I was so excited. I was, early 20s. And I'm like, I get to be like a big girl and wear big girl clothes because you had to dress up more. Anyway, I was so excited. My very first meeting with the upper management and all that, our big marketing meeting, they told us that they were closing the department.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
no.
great
you were
story.
less excited then.
Suddenly, yeah, suddenly didn't feel like a very big girl anymore. It's
Yeah.
like, now what am I gonna do?
I know.
And so I started to do freelance, which I had just started to do like a couple weeks before that. And then before I knew it, I was trying to find a job, but didn't have time to go find a job because I was doing freelance graphic design and marketing. So I did that for 27 years, closed it this February, like the very last day in February. And now I'm just an online creator and like yourselves and creating. And to have that, it just felt like I couldn't do it because
Hmm.
it's so fun or it's a talent that comes so natural. So people think I can't make a business out of that. And I think that's kind of the driving force behind the Creativepreneur Summit. We used to call it the Craft Business Summit. But if you're doing digital, like there's so much digital right now, you can use
Hmm.
your drawing talent, with Procreate, as you very well know, Jen, or
Hmm.
you can be making keychains and earrings, right, Amy, and selling them at
Right.
craft fairs. So
Right.
that talent that you have, just because it comes natural to you and it's free to you, doesn't mean that you can't charge for it. And as you start to make really cute things, I think that's how everybody starts, is then your sister
Mhm.
wants one and your neighbor wants one.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So, and then boom, you have a business.
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah. And everyone has lots of questions about how to sort of make that transition. How do you go from making things that you like and selling them occasionally to your friends and family? How do you turn that into a business? And that's really what your event is going to, help people with, answering those questions.
Yes, I think the first thing everybody has to do is switch your mindset. You have to
Hmm.
say, I'm going to have a business. If you want to give it to your sister-in-law and you want to give it to your mom, do that. But you can't do that to everybody. You can't do that for your neighbors and your coworkers and on and on and on. And pretty soon you're opposite of having a business. Is you're
Yeah.
kind of just bleeding money out through your craft supplies.
Yep.
Right.
So keeping that in mind and having that mindset, like this is going to be a business, and I'm happy if I make $100 a month or if I make $10,000 a month.
Hmm.
I mean, you get to set that. It's again gives you that freedom, like we'd love to talk about with this type of business, but
Hmm.
Yeah.
switching that mindset to say, okay, I'm going to do this. This is going to be my thing, and I don't know how to do it. And you know what? The three of us didn't know how to do any of this. Some days we feel like we
No.
still don't, but you learn as you go. You don't have to know.
Hmm.
You don't have to be, and you're not going to be good at it the very first time. The first time you do an email funnel, the first time you set up your payment, the first time I went to a craft, I don't know, craft fair, craft booth, whatever, and I was like all techie and I had the little swipe thing with my
Yeah.
phone and I was all set up, and guess what? It didn't work.
Yeah.
I ended up giving away 3 items that never got charged because Shelly didn't know what she was doing.
It
Oh no.
happens.
It was
Yeah,
painful.
that happens. Yeah.
It still kind of hurts a little bit, but because I'm cheap too. But at the end of the day, it taught me something, and I figured out how to do it. And now I don't have to give them away anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So
So it really was kind of a gradual process for you between like you kind of had a creative business already with the graphic design and then you carried it through, but you started doing some craft shows? Or
yep,
did
I
you just
started doing craft shows.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I was like, I didn't have time. My kids were. I was just about go. I
Yeah.
was going through a divorce at that time. So then I was single mom, and then I had middle schoolers, which we all know you become the full-time taxi driver.
Yep.
Yes.
So I found a couple shops and did some consignment or wholesale type things, and then realized that the majority of people wanted to know how to do it. Like, how
Yeah.
did you make that so that we can make that was
Yep.
born. And then I started to do digital files for that. And a lot of times we go out with that. Here's what I want to do, and this is the only way I'm going to do it, and this is what I'm going to put out to the world. But then you don't always have people taking that from you.
Yeah.
They're like, well, that's great, but I actually want this.
Hmm.
So you have to be willing to pivot. I think you
And
guys would agree,
that's a
right?
big adjustment. When you're a crafty person, you're used to making whatever you want to make. And it's a big
Yes.
adjustment, I think, as a creative business owner. You have to shift to, what do other people want you to make? It's no longer about what you want, your taste. There's a little bit of that that goes into it because you do have your own style, and that comes
Right.
through your creative work. But if you're going to be a creative business owner, even if you're just selling at craft shows and things like that, you have to understand your customer and what designs do they want to see. I think,
Right.
the natural inclination is just to make cute stuff and hope that it sells. But there really is a mindset shift that you have to do there to start figuring
Yeah.
out what customers want to buy.
Well,
But,
and
Right.
you
You
figure it
just
out
put it
over
out
time.
there. Yeah. And then you
Yeah.
listen to them. I think that's the big
Right.
part. You listen to them. With years and years and years ago, as being a graphic designer, and you have 20 clients a month sometimes. I found this poem, and I should have the whole thing memorized, but it starts out with design is not a right or wrong. It's a matter of opinion. I don't know if it's a poem, but just like the saying. And that's so true. And exactly with our creative business, sometimes somebody will come back and be like, oh, I really like that with, these two colors instead of these two that you normally do. And you're like, but that's so
Mhm.
ugly. But if they love it, it's not, you can't take it personally. I think is
Yep.
kind of where I'm going with this. And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, as long as they're happy, that's your main goal. But you've
Mhm.
used your talents. The majority of people come and ask you to make things to buy from you that you love. At the
Yeah.
Mhm.
end of the day, you're probably going to be very proud of them. But every once in a while, you throw one in there that you're like, those are the ugliest colors ever, and I'm never putting that on any of my social medias.
Right.
Yep. But then somebody's going to love it. I think
Right.
too,
Right.
And
kind of the thing that I had trouble thinking of is sometimes it's not the people buying it that it's for, even it's for they want to give it as a gift. So
mhm.
they may be thinking like, well, is this something that's very giftable? So that was
Right.
like a mindset change for me. So like when I
Hmm.
was trying to figure out like an
Yeah.
overall product, but yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
For sure.
so tell me, I want to know, do you guys ever get like, I mean, so Amy, for instance, you do earrings and keychains. Do you ever want to do
Mhm.
other stuff?
I do, but just like we talked about when you're like a crafter selling your goods and you have to figure out what your customer wants at our level where we're creating content, not necessarily crafts, but we are creating content and designs. You want to be careful from getting too far away from what your audience or the people that enjoy your work. You don't want to get too far away from what they already like from you because generally they want to see more. And I find that if I kind of stay in my lane and just find other ways to
Be
explore my
creative
topic
within the box. Yeah.
in the box, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Right.
it helps me stay focused and it helps keep the people that are interested in my work engaged because I'm trying new things. I'm not like, oh, I'm over here woodworking and I'm over
Yeah.
here and I'm quilting.
Yep.
At least that works for me. I'm not really good at multitasking. I'm pretty
Yeah.
focused.
Well, I know you
But
have a
again,
laser, and so you've been
I do
thinking about bringing laser stuff in, but really that's, kind of a next level, maybe it, to come sometime.
right. It
Yep.
is. And also when you learn more about who your audience is. So for a creative business, if you're selling your handcrafts, that's who your customer is, who's coming up to your table at your booth at a craft fair. And for us, it's who is consuming our content and who's making our projects. The lasers are really expensive
Yep.
machines and not everyone
Yeah,
has the
they are.
budget or wants to invest in a laser. So I kind of find I don't know. I'm not sure if I enjoy my laser for my personal work, but I don't know how far I will go with it in terms of creating content with it, if that makes sense.
Right. It
Just
does.
because
Right.
again, I'm super focused on who my people are and
Hmm.
I just kind of want to stay in that lane. But I love my laser for personal stuff, for sure.
But there you have like, they can absolutely take your designs if they want to
Yeah.
pursue that with the laser because
Yeah.
it's your designs go really well with that. So it's
No,
it's
that's
kind
true.
of a flexibility on their side. You
Mhm.
can, I mean, as crafters and creators, you guys can go ahead and take the ideas just like we do and then
Right.
go ahead and make it your own. So somebody
Right.
in the comments asked, they want to know from you guys, how do you guys figure out what the hot, it's a Judy, how do you figure out what the hot items are going to be so you can stay ahead of the trends? So this is something I have experience with, but I want to show you guys, like, kind of get your guys' opinion on that.
Yeah. I think Pinterest is a big one for
Hmm.
me, seeing what's just in my news feed and then being aware of that, I think is
Mhm.
probably the biggest one. How about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'm always looking around. If I'm at Target, if I'm at the drugstore, I'm always looking at colors and different designs that keep popping up. We also are members of lots of Facebook crafting groups, and we're pretty easy. It's pretty easy to start identifying trends when you start seeing a craft pop up over and over
Well, and
again.
Over and
like
over and
with
over.
300
Yeah.
likes, then you're like,
Yes,
oh,
Yeah,
right.
that's
And
true.
that's the other thing. When someone shares something and then suddenly there's a ton of interest, we pay attention to things like that also.
But then what you tend to do is you're getting them from all kinds of sources. And so then you start kind of filtering it through, what you're interested in, what you like, what you do. Amy may think, okay, well, that's a really cool color trend. Or that's a really cool image, but then how do I pull that into what I do, which is faux leather and vinyl? Right. And so you start kind of trying to filter it. And by the time you get to the end, often it's a completely different new thing. So it's not copying. Like
right.
Seriously, you guys got to get over that. I'm copying things. Yeah. Because you're not.
Right.
You're pulling in different influences.
Right. And it's okay if you're starting out and you see somebody make something and you're like, oh, I want to make one of those. It's okay to go do that. But then sometimes once you learn that skill, then that's where you take it to the next level and you make it your own.
Yeah. I think it really is a matter of just kind of being more aware when you're shopping and you're in your environment, because the stores are going to have similar trends and similar colorways, and also keeping an eye on what other crafters are doing if you're looking for crafting trends specifically. Yeah. And then if your business grows and grows, then you could go to trade shows, for example, or markets where you're in environments where you're seeing where Target is buying their stuff. So, you're catching the very early trends from the different showrooms and things like that, where you could see trends that way too.
I kind of think as handmade business owners, that's a little bit of an advantage we have. For years and years ago, I started kind of seeing gnomes and thinking I liked gnomes. And so I remember popping into a blogging Facebook group and saying, who wants to do a gnome challenge? And it was brand new. I got 5 people say sure. Let's do a craft challenge. And that, I think it was 5-6 years ago now. And that is actually, it was a good example because gnomes blew up after that. But I kept, because this was something I was interested in, I kept an eye out, and it was 2 years before Hobby Lobby had them for Christmas. So people were buying my gnomes, or not buying, but they were getting my stickers and doing all this stuff, and they were crazy for gnomes at the time. But because of the lead time, the mass product, stores like Hobby Lobby, they have a massive lead time to get things from market to create it to the season to get it out to the distribute. So as handmade business owners, if we can identify some of those kind of trendy things, and maybe you don't go all in on the gnomes, but you just take something like that red truck that was, and you're the first, you can pivot quickly, because it's you. Right. So you can be there at the Christmas craft sale with all the, So
And you also have to start getting, building a content. How do I want to say it? So when you're a regular shopper and it's November time, you start thinking about your Christmas table, right? But if you're a crafter or you're creating crafts for holidays, you need to be way ahead of those holidays, like Jen is saying. So it's the summer, and when it's the summer, we're thinking about Halloween and Christmas as crafting content creators. So we have, I like to save pictures. I save pictures on my phone just for inspiration.
That's a good question.
I save them for later.
I want to know who in the chat has more screenshots of craft supplies than they do of photos they take.
Children.
Yeah.
It's even my cat and craft supplies. Yeah. That's why Hobby Lobby has their fall stuff out now. Everybody's so amazed. But if you're making products to sell, you've got to be making them now.
Yeah.
And then it's in shipping times. If you're shipping products.
Right.
Okay. So we're saying 50-50. Okay. So that actually brings me to some of I kind of wanted to run through some of the benefits and the things that we love about, having a craft business or being a creativepreneur, and kind of what you hate. So I think research is one of the things I love. So how about you guys?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because research for me is going to Hobby Lobby. So
that's true. And TJ Maxx. I like to go there and scan the colors.
Because seeing what's big in decor actually kind of helps pull, if you look at decor or fashion, pulling some of those elements that you see into what you do is another way of filtering, which is cool. So
yes,
that is true.
But what about you guys? So what sort of things do you really like about having your own crafty business?
I think the flexibility.
Yeah.
But I'm feeling creative now, and I've always said that even with graphic design. If I'm not feeling creative, it's really hard to do that. So if I have to get up and work, my husband has a 9 to 5 job and well, 7 to 5, but anyway, so he gets up and he goes to work every day at the same time.
Yep.
I'm so sorry you have to do that, hon.
I didn't feel like working
Is
today.
that miserable? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. How about you, Amy?
I do like the flexibility. I think the drawback with that is people in your family or your loved ones might not take your job seriously. So, my kids are often, oh, well, Mom, can you take me here? Can you take me there? Because they know I can work anytime, but then the work has to get done. There's a joke at our house, which is the blog doesn't write itself because they think that, oh, Mom just magically gets her work done, but I still need to be able to work and focus. And they think I'm just playing with craft supplies. So, it's a challenge sometimes, but definitely the flexibility. And I like that I'm setting an example for my kids to show them that I'm able to use my talents, to help make money for our family. So I think that's pretty cool.
So that is something that as when my son was younger, so I started with an Etsy shop. But yeah, I mean, it was like such a cool thing for me to feel like he was seeing me do what I love. And, I want him to do what he loves. It'd be great if he could find kind of some way to use, something. So it's like, you don't have to go all in on, I'm just going to be a astronaut or whatever. You can go ahead and say, well, I'd like to be, there's different levels of involvement that still give you that connection with what's you're passionate about.
Right. So. And something that inspired this whole conversation today is Chelly's hosting a summit, a free summit, a free event. So Chelly, do you want to tell us a little more?
I have a slide.
Okay. Do you want to tell us more about your event and how interested crafters can sign up while we're chatting about this?
Yes. So you guys have a link. I bet we'll drop that in the comments for everybody. It's a free 3-day summit. So you can come.
Oh, it's in the description.
Is it? Okay, perfect. Yeah. So when you go and register, you can sign up for free, and then you'll get access to all of the sessions that we're having. So we have 3 days. We have about 8 to 10 sessions that drop every single day. So you can pick which ones fit you now. A lot of people say, well, I'm just not going to sign up because I can't watch 25 sessions in one day or in, 3-day period. But I don't think you should watch 25 lessons in 3 days. So
and they're different levels
that resonate.
I noticed.
Yes, that's true. And it depends, like some of them are digital. So if you're doing craft shows, you probably want to do this one or that one. So pick the ones that resonate with you. And if you start to watch it and you're like, this is
another slide. Haha, like this one.
Sweet. Yes. So, and this is a really easy one. If you want to get started, you can start to learn Procreate. You don't have to put a lot of funds into these types of businesses. So that's the fun part. Oops. I don't know. When I start to talk, then my earbuds fall out. Does anybody else have that problem, or do I just have weird ears?
No, they're not like super comfortable.
Yeah. I'll just talk like this and I won't move my mouth. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Don't smile. Don't smile or laugh because that makes them pop out, at least for me.
Right. Or chewing. Like if I ever try to listen or put earbuds in while I'm having lunch or something and they end up in my meal. Anyway. Okay. So let's move on.
Everybody's relating. Rebecca says hers fell at the worst times. You guys have all seen, like, on like this live chat, you've seen me all of a sudden dive because one of them dropped out. It's just
there
like, there's
go,
Jen.
Right? Yeah. That's funny. So I'm glad it's not just me. But anyway, so in the event, we have those 3 days. After you register, it does ask if you want to do the VIP ticket. And that's where you can keep them. So if you're thinking, I'd really like to dive into all 25, like the majority of them really resonate with you, then you'll get a quick flash sale and then you can grab the VIP ticket. And there's a bunch of fun bonuses that come with that. So kind of next level, but we have a ton of things. Like if you're thinking, well, where do I sell, or how do I sell, or how do I figure out which one of, which products to sell? Who's going to be my ideal client? There's so many fun sessions that I
actually have like pages of like ones that I started writing down the ones that I thought were really good for like beginners. And I ended up like, because you've got a lot every day. So each day there was a couple that I thought were really good for beginners, a couple that were intermediate, and a couple that were more advanced. So you guys like start looking at it and you're like, well, I don't necessarily need to know how to do Facebook ads, but you would probably like to, the day one live panel, which is all of like, I think what was it called? 20 things. Now I can't read my handwriting.
Yes.
20 things I wish I knew before I became a full-time creativepreneur. That's a good one, right?
That's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then I like too that you have a couple different AI things, because there are like a lot of us are good at the visual and making stuff, but like coming up with like the listing descriptions on Etsy is like the bane, or coming up with any kind of written like content like that just is really hard for me. So I've learned that using ChatGPT to kind of give me a starting point, and then I can go ahead and kind of, tweak that has been so like, I mean, it keeps me creative and moving. It doesn't drag me down into that like dungeon of words that Amy is amazing at. So that's why we work well together.
I think it kind of pulls that new, or that, blank page when you first start out, and you go to write descriptions if you want to do Etsy or something like that, or you just want to put out a product on your Facebook page, and you're like, where do I start?
Like, how do I even describe this?
These AI tools and these sessions that we have are just geared towards those kind of things. So it's all going to be useful, and the idea behind them is they're going to save you time. So then you can go back to, running your kids around or enjoying the summer, not having to work 24/7.
What's great about an event like yours too is, let's say someone is a beginner and they decide their first step is going to be opening an Etsy shop. You can open an Etsy shop and you can write your own descriptions, but then you can come back to and layer on, okay, I'm going to use ChatGPT to help me write my descriptions. If that's something you find you
ask it to include keywords, because that's helps with the, get found and stuff. I mean, so you can do that.
And
True.
Go ahead.
I was just trying to say that you can start simple and then you can layer in these more advanced techniques.
Yeah.
And you'll find, especially if you have the VIP pass, you can go back and add these things in when you're ready for them, which is really great.
Yeah. Like some things, even like, me, some things will just go over my head because it's not something that I've had to learn yet.
Right.
And at some point, like where we are today and where we started, it was a gradual process. It wasn't I'm going to go all in and do all this stuff. It was, okay, so I'm going to, do this, like the, written tutorials. And then you start seeing, okay, well, people want to see things. So for instance, Amy had this experience with YouTube. I remember your, tell us what your reaction was when I said, Amy, you really need to go on YouTube.
I said, absolutely not.
And you said absolutely not for about 6 months.
I did. And even my husband was like, yeah, the blog is cool. And I like that you're doing that, but I would never read a blog post. I would only watch a video. And I told him, you don't understand. And this is how it works. And you write the blog post and you take the pictures. And he said, I would never do it. You need to be doing videos. So it was him and Jen telling me that I had to do videos.
Every once in a while, she'd say, well, I really want to do, I'm like, YouTube. And it's, okay, this is funny because I do not love YouTube. Like, I don't. It's not my thing either, but I knew that it was a good next step if you want to expand your audience. So, Amy, tell us, you just had a milestone on YouTube. What was that?
I did. I'm super excited. I hit 40,000 subscribers on my little YouTube channel.
Yay!
So
I feel like I should have had confetti ready to go.
Right. No, throw some hearts, everybody.
It's funny because I post my milestones every time, like 15, 20. But when I hit 40, now I have people like even Jennifer Maker said congratulations to me.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah, it seems like once you hit, I don't know, maybe it's a bigger number, but suddenly people are like, oh, okay, that's a cool number.
Right.
So I'm excited.
It's fun. It's fun when it works.
But something that's great about YouTube, speaking about a creative business, there's so many creative business owners that started on YouTube. So they didn't start with a blog. You can literally start a YouTube channel if you feel comfortable on video, and you can start sharing your crafts that way. You can start sharing your craft tutorials. Crafting with Delonda. She's awesome. She has a great YouTube channel. I just watched one of her videos where she talked about how she started her channel, and she was like sitting in a corner in her house and just talking about her brand new Cricut machine. She bought a Cricut Explorer Air 2. and she was just wanted to share what she learned worked for her with her new machine. And that's how her YouTube channel started. So that's
Awesome.
another avenue to explore. If
So-
you don't necessarily want to sell your handmade crafts, you want to teach people how to make crafts. That's another business idea.
That is something that I wanted to recommend as being like one of the the good things that I loved or love about my business right now is that I can be here in my house and you guys get me. Like you're our tribe. Like you guys squirrel right along with us. And like just the fact that you are here and like, well, you're in your house, I'm in my house, Amy and, but we found our people. And so a great part of that is having the platform because of our business to go ahead and make those connections. So it fills me up every single day when I'm like seeing what you're doing, that you're making things. It's that it really helps me feel connected. And it brought me people like you and Chelly, Amy.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Penny said she has to run. She'll catch the replay. Hope you have a good day, Penny. In the comments. So Chelly, Kelly wanted to ask, what is your favorite workshop in your summit? Like, what's the one you're excited to share with all your attendees?
That's like asking which child is your favorite. You just pick
okay.
whichever
So we'll
one's
just
in the
take
room.
me off the table because I'm here. So don't, because it's
right.
So don't say
pick
mine.
Jen, because
but
Jen
pick
would have
any
been
other
your
one.
number one. Right. Pick a different one.
Yeah. Yes. I think it. I'm going to answer that. Well, wherever you're at, I think there's a different answer for that. But
True.
I am really excited about the live on day 2 on Monday, which is how do you deal with burnout and overwhelm? I can't remember the exact name, but that's the panel.
Yeah, I think I wrote that down too because it looked really good because that happens to me.
Yes, and it's just that, whether it's burnout or overwhelm, I think 90% of what makes people successful online is that they have that mindset they're going to keep going. And things aren't going to work. Someone's going to hate the thing that you made. Someone's, the tech is not going to work. That stuff always happens.
Yep.
And having that mindset to just keep going, I think is the difference. So I think that will be a big mind changer, but also community. The community that you find with all of it. So having kind of when I first started, like I said, I started 27 years ago by myself, and we'd meet new people, and I was in my 20s and 30s, and they'd say, "What do you do, Chelly?" And I'd tell them I'm self-employed, and they'd go like this, "Oh, that's so cute."
Yeah.
Like I just told them I bought a puppy or something. Like it wasn't serious. And now after the pandemic, it's being self-employed or an entrepreneur, small business owner. It's become more of a, I don't know, more respected, I think.
Yeah.
Or viewed more as a real job.
And for people that are making crafts and want to shift to selling them, again, even if they're just selling them on Facebook, selling them to their friends and family, selling them at a craft fair, that is a small business. That is a handmade business. It doesn't have to be a giant thing with a website and products and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
You're going to take small steps if you're interested in selling your crafts. Try not to get overwhelmed of thinking that you have to do all the things at once, because you really don't. But what's great about Chelly's event is there's content that sort of meets you where you're at. When Jen and I started, we had to learn how to build websites ourselves. How do you send emails to people? You can't send emails from your Gmail account, so you need to set up a separate email thing. There are all these layers and all these steps. And at every point, we've had to kind of reach out and say, okay, how do I do that? So with an event like Chelly's and all the content, you can say, okay, I've done this first step. What do I need to do next? Oh, great. There's a video on that.
Yeah, it's a very organic process. I feel it's not something that what you just said, some people are like, woo, already, but you don't need to know that until you need to kind of know that. And then you figure it out.
Right.
And sometimes figuring it out. Yeah. Yeah. And like Amy said, you can shortcut it. You don't have to start here and do all the research and figure it out yourself. By finding somebody like Chelly, and this event, you guys can go ahead or even just, other business people that are really cool, like we follow. They've already figured it out and they're willing to tell you. So you can skip that messy middle to some extent and
Right.
just go and start with, where they kind of help you with
Right.
Procreate.
Yes.
I mean, you can go sit there and figure it out all day long, or you can go ahead and find somebody who's willing to teach you kind of what the things are. So it just,
And you
it's a good
learn
tip.
it in the time it would take you to figure out what you need to learn. So
Yeah.
it's a faster process, and it doesn't feel overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Right.
also at these events too, you find your community of people. Like we
Yeah.
text each other often and say, like, how's this working? What's
Yes.
with you? And if you don't have, I think I probably spent 15 of almost this 30 years just on just on my own, just with people saying, oh, that's cute. You have your own business. But
Really? Oh,
not really understanding like that, the rising tides raises all ships. I love that saying,
Yes.
because the more people you have in your corner that understand, believe, and support what you're doing,
Yes.
and then also they push me.
yeah.
So,
Have you tried
creatives
this? Have you thought of
each of us,
this? You should go on
yeah,
YouTube.
leaning into that, whether you want to or not.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I really, you have the creative talent. If you're watching this, you have some sort of creative craft skill already, and it's just getting that support for that next level, which can look however you want it to. Whether you want to learn to
Right.
sell on Etsy or just at craft shows, or
Okay, so that
like
is
$100 a
actually
month or 10,000.
another one of your things that I thought was really good was you had why your handmade business needs Shopify and Etsy. One of your speakers did that, and I just met with somebody the other day. Like we were just kind of getting to know each other, and she has quilts that she wanted to sell. So she started an Etsy store, and it was like hard for people to even find the shop. So she wasn't like, she was very defeated. And I started telling her, I started thinking about like, okay, well, if I was to do that, if I was to start today, I might actually go ahead and create a Shopify shop and then sell through Instagram. So, there's always new tools and new things that you can start looking at.
And I think it connects to
It's up to
Etsy now
you.
too, doesn't it? Yeah.
I don't know,
Shopify,
Amy
I
figured
think
it
you
all out.
connect.
I'm only
Yeah,
saying
I
that I
think
might do that. Really, I just had Amy figure stuff out. She was figuring out
yeah.
our print on demand merch thing. So, so Amy, does Shopify
Oh,
connect
funny.
to social media?
Well, I know that like my Shopify store connects to YouTube. So Shopify will connect to Facebook and Instagram. However, they just changed the rules where you have to check out now through Meta in order
Okay.
to connect Shopify to those two platforms. So I sell digital files in my Shopify store, and I really need the person to check out on Shopify so that it triggers all the things so
Oh,
they get
so
their
they can
automatic
actually get the
email.
files.
Right. So I've had to decline.
Yeah.
I can no longer link to Facebook and Instagram, but that's
Yeah.
a digital product.
But I was going to
Weird
say,
to
but if
Yeah.
you're
They
starting
don't
it with a physical
support it.
if
product,
you're selling with physical products, yes, it definitely does. And you can have a cute little shop on Instagram that is tied to your Shopify store. Now, I don't know about Etsy and Shopify. I know there are apps because let's say you're selling a really a beautiful quilt and it's however much money and you only have one of a kind. If
yeah,
you want to list it on both Etsy and Shopify, you don't want to sell it overnight in two places when you only have
yeah.
one. So there are apps that will help you manage your inventory between those two platforms. So if it sells out on one, it's removed from the other. So
There,
things like that.
there
Yeah.
really
And
is a lot of like tech stuff that makes these things easier. So
Yes.
yeah, and you know
Right.
what?
and then
Yeah.
But
Go
it's
ahead.
optional. You can start without any of the tech
You can
stuff.
start with
yeah.
Facebook Marketplace. You could
Right.
start
I've
by
always
going to your farmer's market and setting up a table.
Absolutely.
and
Setting an old school and and that's a great way to
And I've
meet
done that.
customers. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
great way to learn what customers want. It's a
Yep.
great way to learn about what price points do you need to have available. What should you have at your table? Should everything be high priced or low priced, or should you have multiple prices available? Farmers markets and craft shows are great ways to actually meet and talk to your customer.
Yeah.
Really important.
yeah,
So
and they'll help
so
drive it.
yeah.
I was going to say, when we talk about tech, it's not it's not hard tech anymore. So much
Yeah,
of it
that's what I'm
is,
kind of trying
I
to
mean,
say.
setting up a
Yeah.
Shopify right now, setting up a website on Shopify is like a million times easier than it was when the three of us started,
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
right?
So,
I'm
Chelly, can
curious.
you? I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. We have a little lag, so I always feel like I'm stepping on you. But I was going to say, as we were chatting here, what those who are watching, like, what do you sell? What do you want to sell? What do you think would sell? I would love to see some of your examples, and then maybe we could even guide them to a couple sessions. That would be great for them.
That's a
Ooh,
What
good
great
were you going
idea.
to say,
idea.
Amy?
Well, I was going to say, Lucille had a question and she wanted to know, do you need to have a business to join the summit?
You don't. If you, I love to think of it as you're going to come in and kind of look at it as the 30-foot view. So you're going to be able to see kind of all the possibilities. And then I always tell people to trust your gut. Like if you are not going to do a website, but that Shopify and Etsy store session really kind of just pulled you towards it, then go watch that. And maybe this is where that's how you're going to figure out what your next step is.
Yeah,
So in
I love that.
every session, I forgot I was going to say this earlier, but every session that we have has a worksheet with it. So if you've ever been to a conference for whatever reason and you're there and you're so inspired and you
Yeah.
cannot wait to get back to your office and start and but now you watch, especially when you've got 3 days and there's so many sessions every day, but now you're going to have a worksheet with each one. So if you could even download, a couple of them a day or 10 new ones, imagine how much further you would be after 3 days with that kind of progress
Yeah. And you
instead
watch
of,
and you take
you know,
notes, and then you come back later when that starts
Mhm.
making more sense for your journey.
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, I love
So,
that. So really this event is not just for creative business owners, it's for crafters like us that want to just explore the possibilities of selling your handmade goods. And maybe that turns into a business for you. Or maybe it just is kind of, something you do for fun to make extra money. I always think it's kind of fun to figure out how I can pay a bill with my business. That's what I did in the beginning. Like, can I
Yeah.
make enough money to cover my car payment? Can I make enough money to pay the electric bill? You know, or
Or
saving
my
for a
kids' cheer
vacation.
trip, or yeah.
Yes, right.
yeah.
So, then it's become like, can I, make enough money to do a family vacation? And that might be your goal. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a business owner. It can be just selling your handmade items for
Okay, so
extra
so
money.
that was
There's
so
a place.
funny because for me, I started even lower. It was, how do I afford 3 more rolls of this wire that I wanted? How do I afford,
Right.
you
Yeah, I was
know,
going to say, have it support your habit.
yeah,
Yes.
it that's
Yeah.
like a big thing for all of us.
Yeah.
It's like we're
Yeah.
interested, our mind is going, we're squirreling, we want to try things,
Hmm.
but we're not necessarily like able to keep pouring money into it because, husbands, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
But, there's, yeah, so for me it was, I'd really like to try this. How do I so my first craft show that I did was actually the neighbor across the street was having a garage sale, and she's like, "Oh, people are coming. Why don't you put a table at the end and try to sell your crafts?" I'm like, "Okay." So I did. It was the end of the driveway. I had no, I mean, it was in hindsight. Obviously, people going to look for a deal at a garage sale were not going to want to stop at the end of the driveway and buy some craft thing that I made. And I was doing wire sculptures. So it's like,
Hmm.
but you try it. And I'm still really proud of myself for putting myself out there and actually just,
Sure.
and, that's
Did you
kind
sell
of,
some?
I don't think I did. I don't think I sold a thing. But 3 years later,
But
I
you
did
kept
it.
going.
Well, I did a sale in
Yeah.
my garage and I called it an artisan
Yeah.
sale. I made signs. I put up things at like little things. I had already kind of created, community in my area, and I had people coming to that. And I had a couple friends, so there was more than just me. And I think we made like $3,000 on that. So,
Wow.
it's all kind of knowing, by
Marketing.
then,
It's
yeah,
really,
by then I had figured out kind of my niche. I knew not to
Yeah.
call it, like,
a
homemade stuff.
garage
I
sale.
knew to call it handmade stuff. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I didn't call it a garage sale. I said I was an
Right.
artisan versus a crafter because that was
Uh-huh.
a little bit more, it shows that
Fancy.
you, well, and it shows that you put a
Yeah.
little bit more, that you're serious about it, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's really you kind of drill down into your ideal client. So
yeah,
going back to the basics of marketing is who's my ideal client, what am I selling, and then how am I going to sell it? And
yeah.
you put those three together in a way that attracted not the person who's going to find that thing for a quarter, but the person who wanted, some artistic joy in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
even
smart.
when you're gifting something, having pride in what you're doing and realizing that, maybe they don't necessarily, whoever you're gifting it to, maybe it's not their thing. So being okay with, not having them jump up and down or having them not appreciate the process of what you went through to create it, but
Yeah.
being, but still continuing to kind of, put yourself out there a little bit. Go ahead and make it because it makes you feel good and it might make them feel really good to get it. So
Mm-hmm.
I think being conscious of that whole, again, so even if you guys don't ever take it to a handmade business, but you really just want to make something to give, like a lot of us do volunteer stuff, you
Mm-hmm.
want it to be something that other people are going to actually want. So
Mm-hmm.
thinking it from this mindset, even if it's not a business, is going to give you better results, right?
Right.
Great. So Kathy,
Kathy, oh,
yeah.
go ahead. I was gonna ask you Kathy's question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Kathy says, how do you narrow down the products that you're gonna sell? Like, how do you figure that out? And I think one of the things you see people doing a lot of times that I think actually works really well is just taking up a picture of them, make sure you have good lighting so that the picture looks great, post them on your Facebook page, your personal Facebook page, and say, like, I'm selling
Mm-hmm.
these. Would anybody be interested? I was thinking of selling these. Would anybody be interested? And or just start posting things that you're making and seeing
Mm-hmm.
what kind of comments you get. And even if you don't ask, would anybody be interested in buying these? If you just post, like, look what I've made, you're going to have people saying, I would buy one of those.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, that's
just
a
putting
great way to
yourself out
start.
there.
Yeah. And
Hmm.
you also might find people that say, I want to learn how to make that. And then that's a different business, right?
It
Yeah,
Teaching,
is.
right.
maybe you find yourself like Paula was saying that she was doing quilts and she was making so many quilts that it started to stress her out. So then maybe it's the time to shift to let me teach people how I do quilting, you know, and then it's less making and more teaching. There's so many possibilities with what we do. It's
Yes.
really cool. Yeah.
I think the session actually that I have during the event is, I think it's 20 ways that you can make money as a creative business owner that you didn't think of. And a lot
Oh.
of them are going to take a lot of time. Or if you're already making the thing like the quilt, what else could you add to that that fits in that
Mm-hmm.
same bucket, but could help you boost your income?
Like little mug things, thinking
Mm-hmm.
smaller, thinking, or the bowl,
Yeah.
the things that for soup to keep your hands. So if you're a
Mm-hmm.
quilter,
Yes.
you can go ahead and take
Yeah.
some of those same skills that you have,
Yeah.
but pull it into some of these other things.
Yeah. And
So,
then as a quilter, you could also take photographs of your quilt or photographs of your quilting squares, and you can turn those into coffee mugs and coasters and
mm-hmm.
keychains. You can upload those digital photos to places that print things. Like we had our Cricket Adventure mugs printed. You can upload those to places that will print your photo on different physical products. So
Yeah,
yeah, lots and lots of different
that
ways.
is
I'm
actually
sure.
something that I go through quickly in my session is I actually talk about multiple income streams. So you may go ahead and draw something in
So helpful.
Procreate, but there's no reason you can't sell that as clip art. Or you can make, actual product with it and sell that. Or you can go ahead and throw it in a print on demand store, or you can do all three. You know,
Yeah,
there's
I love
really
that.
no reason
Mhm.
because it's your design that you created and it can go into all these things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just kind
Yes.
of being smart. Oh, my sound's down. There. I turned my sound down because my dog was barking a lot, and my husband's not home to tell him to stop. So
Penny,
hopefully that's better.
Penny, be quiet.
So yeah,
Yeah.
just multiple income streams. There's no reason you can't. So,
Yeah,
Right.
I love that.
And it's such a
And
good business decision too,
mm-hmm.
it
you
is.
know.
It is. So again,
So yeah,
if you're selling at craft fairs or you're selling to your friends, multiple income streams might sound too fancy. It basically
yes,
just means lots of different ways to make money without a lot of extra work and effort. So if you were selling handmade goods, you might decide you're going to take, I don't know, like if you sell shirts, for example, and you're putting designs in vinyl on shirts, you might decide to take those same designs, shrink them down, and cut them from permanent vinyl and put them on keychains. So those are faster to make, they have less cost, and they're a lower cost item on your table, which might attract kids that are shopping or customers looking for just a quick little gift to pick up. So it's ways that would be adding another income stream, would be another type of craft without not a lot of work.
Okay, but you do sound really cool when you start talking to people, I have to say.
Yes.
Like when you say words like multiple income streams.
Yes. Yes. But I want people to understand that that's a concept that you can apply without having it be, an overwhelming concept.
Yeah,
it's really pretty.
Most of what we're doing isn't crazy. Like, like it sounds good, but really it's just thinking, okay, what can I do next? Or what can I try? Or maybe, going to Hobby Lobby and seeing, like I'm actually going to work on some planners, like stickers. So I'm going to go later today when I take, I'm going to go stop at Hobby Lobby and see what people are actually buying. So it gives me some ideas that, what other people are interested in. So
that's good. And sometimes those smaller items, like the keychains and those kind of things like you were talking about, they also could be upsells.
Yeah.
So when they come in and they buy your quilt.
That's a fancy term. Tell us what upsell means.
That is a fancy term. Explain what that is. We're pulling back the curtain here.
Yeah. So if they're buying your quilt or your t-shirt, and then you have a keychain that kind of goes with it. So instead of just buying the one item from you, you're selling more to the same customer. So you don't have to go find more customers. You just increase your per customer.
Is this like when I'm standing in the line and then they taunt me with like things right there? And I'm like, shoosh, now I really need this dark chocolate blueberry, candy bar, and I didn't before.
Yep. That's exactly right.
It. Yeah. So very simple, but you guys get it.
It works.
The thing that we've all... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say it works. We've all fallen for it. And we love those things. It's not like you're making them spend money they don't want to spend. Like it's something that they want.
You're just showing them that it's available. And if they're hungry for a dark chocolate, then they do it. So
and they do
exactly.
It.
But I was just going to say that Jen and I wanted to have Chelly on because her event is we think it's so great for you all because you're crafty, and we just want you to feel like making money off of your crafts is possible and doable, and it doesn't have to be complicated, and it doesn't have to be a big thing. You can start really small. You have us to ask questions, of course, and we just want to encourage you, if you're interested in making money from your crafts for whatever reason, that you can do it. And we're here for you, and Chelly's event is going to have a lot of great information for you too.
So to you guys, each of you have, and me too, we've done this now for a couple, for several years. Well, Chelly a lot longer than I guess, I've done it for 20 some years too. But is this something is this a journey that you're glad that you took?
Who are you asking?
Both.
Are you asking us or the audience?
Are you asking the people? Okay.
Sorry. Yeah. Well,
99% of the time, 100% yes.
Oh yeah.
I can't imagine people going to work and not loving their job or can't wait to go to work. When we have free time, I'm usually in here doing something. Mm-hmm. My husband will go, he plays in this adult beer league hockey, we call it. And he's like, you don't do anything for fun. And I'm like, but this is fun.
Yep.
Like I get to craft and then share it.
Yep.
And everybody, it's,
and it makes you
find
feel
that
good and
that enjoys it too. And that just kind of feeds it.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree. Susan popped the link for us to get a free ticket to Chelly's event. It's completely free, no stress. It's like all the other events that we have where you get a free ticket. You're just going to want to take a look at that schedule first and sort of pick out the sessions that appeal to you the most. Remember, Jen went through. Jen, do you want to read just a few of the beginner sessions that you thought were interesting and would work?
Yes, I do. Well, I kind of mentioned a couple of them already, but I thought because there was the AI that I thought was cool. There was why your business needs Shopify. Yeah.
That's not
Okay,
something. Yeah.
so there was 4 steps from hobby to profitable or profitability.
Ooh, I like
Um,
that one.
yep, I like that too. Um, actually, oh, laser. If you're like, oh, I like the ones where they just like give you an example. So, Bale's doing one where maybe you were thinking about getting a laser. What can you even do with that? That's the
Right.
first step we take when we
Hmm.
first start thinking, oh, I'm going to buy a Cricut. What can I even do with it? You know.
Right.
So she gives
And
us that information.
yeah, and with something like a laser, I know a lot of people buy the laser and then they just want to make back the money that they
Yeah.
spent on the laser and they start making craft to sell with it. So that's a great way to justify getting a laser. You're going to make
Well,
stuff to
or
sell and pay off the
Cricut
laser.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, Cricut too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And
I thought that one
Lucy,
sounded great. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Those are
yeah, I
good
was
ones.
gonna say Lucy has one that's how to find customers. So she's got this little step-by-step framework she calls Bloom Friend, but it walks you through
Oh, I saw that it
because
was
if you have
Bloom, and I didn't know
products,
what that was.
yeah, like if you have products and you know that there's like how do you find customers to buy them? So that one's going to help.
Yeah. So
And
once
Oh,
you've
that
already
also with
would
exhausted your family, like, where do you go
yeah,
next?
and
Yeah.
be
coworkers, yeah. I
Do,
bet there's a
do you
lot
all
of
see my
people.
daughter? My daughter's in the chat. Do you see Olivia?
She is.
If
She's so
ever,
cute.
could you all say
She
hello to? She's very excited. She went to the orthodontist this morning and she got a note to stay home from school. So she's at home in the chat.
she's gonna make bracelets today.
She
So
is. She's going
It's
to make
cute.
chain
she's a little
bracelets.
crafty girl too.
And I asked her how much are your materials and how much time are you spending, and let's figure out, your bracelets. So you can start
Yes.
young.
Yep.
Handmade business.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's when I found the love of it too. My mom actually, she and her sister would make crafts, and they go to do you guys remember when they'd have like a school and like Christmas craft like event, and it was like huge auditorium of craft like booths in like
Uh huh.
small towns, and there'd be popcorn and concessions, and I absolutely loved that so much. And we made these little egg head ornaments where you'd like poke a hole and then blow out the eggs and then decorate them.
Oh yeah. Uh huh.
So like really simple stuff, but it was so that feeling of being there and the excitement and having people walk by and maybe buy stuff is what got me started. So
I love that.
Yes.
like
I think we
you
all
know
want to see her bracelets
I
now.
know
Is she
Olivia's very
handy?
excited. Her sticker business has stalled a little because her sticker business coach has been a little busy, but we're gonna get back to it this summer. Oh, your
Yeah.
mom has a good question, Jen. Is there something that teaches how to best handle shipping? So shipping physical products. Do we have any advice on that?
We
I feel
don't
like
have a
there was
session on
one.
that.
No, I thought there was.
That, yeah, not on shipping particular, but I think it depends on where your checkout is. So if you have like Shopify or like I have the planner that I sell through my WordPress website, and then it goes to a shipping website so
Right.
that I can just print off the label. And I was like, am I really going to buy a printer just to print off labels? Like that just seems kind of weird. But I tell you, the amount of time it takes and
Oh
how
yeah,
simple it is. And then it also helps your business look, I think, more professional
it
than
does.
Shelley with her tape roller
I
sticking
think
pieces of
I
paper
think
on packaging.
I
I
do
think
that.
the
I just like
Shopify I think the Shopify and Etsy session would be good for that topic because you'll find that most of these platforms for selling have shipping platforms integrated and built in. So they actually make it really easy. So, like Shelly's saying, if you went with Shopify, they have shipping partners built in. You just sort of do some basic setup and, tell it
And
what
it's
size your
easy.
packages are for things and what the weights
Mhm.
are. And it'll connect you with your shipping partner. And the same thing for Etsy. So that's
yep.
actually gotten a lot easier than it used to be.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was really
way
just
easier.
in the beginning it was yeah, lugging everything
It's
down to the
messy.
USPS
Oh yeah,
and having
yeah.
them weigh each one and trying to figure out
Hmm.
well what's the cheapest way to do it and yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, definitely. And then not knowing, making sure am I charging enough for shipping so that I'm not losing
oh
money
yeah,
on
like how
this.
many times have I come out like even or
Hmm.
behind on something because I didn't calculate
Right.
shipping?
yeah.
Yes. And
But
once you find
that
the
would be.
resource,
Hmm.
sorry, it's easy to figure out. So it's definitely something that you can figure out. And a lot of people have figured it out. So there's no
Hmm.
reason it can't be simplified for you too.
Olivia said, coffee chat is the best way to start my morning. It's because she's not at school. Because usually
Are we paying
starting
her
your
for comments?
I have to
Olivia.
say though that
We should be.
Olivia, somebody actually said that early on too. So I kind of believe them
Mm-hmm.
a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more than you. But hey,
Yeah, no offense.
She's trying to figure out how to make Amy Romeo crafts like the Romeo girls or something. She's trying to figure out how to squeeze into my
well, I
URL.
love it. I
She's
think
trying to
that's
ride your
awesome.
coattails.
Well, Amy,
Yeah.
aren't you actually? I thought you had some like plan in the works where she was maybe going to help you with something.
Yeah, we want her to help. Cheer keeps her really busy. So I'm kind of hoping for the summer we'll have a little downtime.
Well, right now she for sure helps kind of say, I know she looks at your things and says, "Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, tweak that.
Yeah.
Yeah." So she gives her
Yeah.
opinion a lot. So she does advice.
The critic.
Yes.
Right. And I do actually get a lot of trends from her, and she's
She
really
has
good about
advice.
she's good about screenshotting things for me, trends she sees, colors. She's really good at that. So
She does
she's
market
helped
research
me.
for you.
Yeah, she does. She helps me do market research.
Well, I like that she actually has opinions and tells you. Like, it's not
Yeah.
always like, sometimes it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, don't do that.
And she has
She's
a good
usually
eye.
pretty right on. Yeah.
Yeah, she has a good eye. And remember, Jen, she learned Procreate from you when she was like 10. You
Yeah, I
shared
know.
some Procreate stuff for her, and she's
Yep.
actually
That's
pretty good
funny.
at Procreate, which I know I've shared that story before, but I'm always
she needs me to go ahead and show her how to do more sticker stuff. That's what
Yes.
it is.
That's what it is. Yes, that would be
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
So,
That's fun.
Well, this
yeah.
this has been super super fun. Remind us again, Jen, where we can find the link to get a free pass to Chelly's summit.
Okay, so in the description, and then actually in the chat a bunch of times, Susan was here kind of showing you guys. But that's my link. You guys, I would love to have you come check out I think I'm day 3. And it's Profits, Procreate from Profits. What did I call it again? I was all excited.
Profit
That's
by
right.
Design, the possibilities of
Oh,
Procreate.
yeah.
Ooh, that's a good name. I like
Right?
that. That's a good
Right?
title.
I worked really
So
hard
many
on that
fun
one.
ideas,
Because words, not my
Yes.
thing. But
And
what
on
I-
day one, there's this. Oh, sorry. I was going
No,
to say
it's
on
okay.
day one, there's a session. She's hand lettering Danielle, and she has 10 ways to use your artwork.
so
So
that would
when
be
you
good
do
too.
Jen's Procreate, if you listen to Danielle's, she's going to come up with some more ways too, I bet.
Oh, so just
That will
kind of
help you
working with
make
them
money
together.
from it. Yeah, and they kind of go together really well.
Oh, Barbara already
Oh,
watched
that's
mine.
Watched it. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
That's
love to
awesome.
see you guys
Yay.
over there.
Yeah, well, thanks for letting me actually do this, because this was the first workshop that I've done where it wasn't a straight up tutorial. It was actually, okay, so this is where you're at. Now what can you do with it? So that was helpful. So I enjoyed it.
Yes.
I'm excited to be there. So, all
Yeah, we're
That's
excited to
awesome.
have you. It's a great fit.
right, so everybody go grab your free ticket because it's free. So why not? And check that
Great.
out. And then Chelly, when does it actually start?
We're going to do a pre-party on May 18th, and then the sessions start at 10 o'clock Central Time on May 19th. So the 19th through the 21st.
Okay,
Awesome.
I'm going to be in
Um,
France.
Yes. So I wanted to
that's
say a
no
quick
problem.
thing about next week. So next Wednesday is the 15th. It is Jennifer's birthday, and Jennifer
Yay.
will not be here with us.
No.
And Olivia has a dentist appointment on the 15th. So I know we said that we were going to try and be more consistent, and we really are. So next week we won't be able to have a chat on Wednesday, but we're going to, again, try and keep to our schedule.
So,
I do
Amy,
have
I'm
some-
not actually going to be back to the 22nd. So there's actually 2 Wednesdays I'm going to be gone, I
That
think.
that's okay, because now I have Olivia's getting her. Is that the day you're getting your braces? Oh, she's getting her braces on the 29th. Okay, so we have 2 Wednesdays that we'll have to skip, and then maybe on the 29th we can see if Jen can have a friend come on. But we'll
Absolutely.
figure it out.
We will figure
But
it out.
Yes, but we will all be wishing Jen a very happy birthday. She will be
you.
really suffering in Paris, France on her
Mhm.
50th birthday. So we'll all shed a tear for her,
Yeah.
for her
Yeah.
difficult.
Bring us back something nice.
I'll post
Yeah.
a picture in the Facebook group or a couple
Yes.
pictures because,
Yes.
yeah, it'll be
We'll
fun.
just live through you. That's fine.
It's an adventure.
Yep.
It's
My son is in Paris
exciting.
right now, actually. I told you everyone he was going on his Europe trip. I drove him to the Orlando airport yesterday and came back for a big baseball game for my other son. And Chase is in Paris and he's having a great time. So anyway, that's our update.
All right. So yes, definitely.
Exciting.
I'll talk to you guys in a couple of weeks, and I will post pictures. So because it'll
Yay,
be fun.
yes.
I'm excited.
Yes, please do that.
So Chelly,
And
this is your second time being on here. Thank you so much for joining us
Yes.
from Bismarck.
It was fun chatting. Thanks for everyone for commenting, and I hope to see you guys all at the summit next week.
All right.
Thank you, Chelly. It was awesome seeing you. I love getting to chat with you.
Yeah,
right.
been
All
fun.
right, well,
Thanks, everyone.
Yep.
All right. Bye, friends.
See you guys.